So many businesses fail because they don't have a good, solid infrastructure in place. It's kind of like when you go to build a house and you hire a contractor. If they just build a house on top of the ground, what happens? The first one that comes by is going to blow your house down. So you really have to dig deep. You have to pour the concrete, put in all the piping, put in the electrical, etc., and build the solid foundation. Well, the business is the same way.
Welcome to GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, the Going North podcast, where authors from around the world help you realize that success is tangible. You'll leave with at least one new piece of inspiration or information to help you keep going north. Now let's get on with the show. Today's episode is sponsored by yours truly, Dom Brightmon's wonderful book, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. Grab it on ebook, audiobook, or paperback book and share it as a gift to your friends, family, heck, even no matter what season it is, for that wonderful person in your life that needs to advance to their next level in their career or just needs a quick pick-me-up to get through their day and beyond to thrival level. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as GMP, the Great, the Going North podcast, we got another super special, awesome human for you today. That's right, folks. We got a powerhouse chick in the building, baby, because today's guest, my goodness, an international keynote speaker and a 20-year veteran. You heard that right, folks. 20-year veteran, 2 whole decades plus in the M&A, mergers and acquisitions industry that is regarded as the leading authority on buying, selling, fixing, and growing businesses. And in addition to being featured in Inc., Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, and USA Magazine, she makes regular radio and TV appearances on Fox Business News and CNBC because her and her firm have sold over 1,000 businesses and counting in almost every vertical and have a remarkable, you heard that right, folks, a remarkable track record of success. So let's give it up for the founder and CEO of Seiler Tucker Incorporated, the Miss MST herself, Michelle Seiler Tucker. How you doing today, Michelle?
I'm awesome, Dom. I'm glad it's Friday. How are you?
This must have been a heavy week for you then.
It was a heavy week. And I normally never say that because I love what I do and I usually work on the weekends, so I typically never say that. But yeah, it's been a heavy week. I got to put it down somewhere.
Well, you work out every morning, so I guess it comes with the territory, right?
Yeah, 1,000%.
So my goodness, with all that wonderful goodness, introductions aren't allowed to be 50 days long, and I'm pretty sure there are some cavities I may have missed. Am I feeling anything I may have missed about you, Michelle?
No, I think you pretty much summed it up. Yeah, I've been in this industry a little over 20 years. I'm a mergers and acquisitions Master Intermediary, mergers and acquisitions certified professional, senior business analyst, Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling author of Exit Rich, which is my latest book. And we really specialize in buying, selling, fixing, and growing companies.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. And the beautiful thing about it is this wonderful book, Exit Rich. Funny enough, I believe you say it's going to be on audio too at the time of this podcast releases, so folks can take it on the go and they can actually read it while they're going along so they can really get the principles in their head.
Yeah, for the month of May only, we are actually selling the audio version of Exit Rich for $2.99. So $2.99 promote Exit Rich as we're going for some of the list. But what's great about it is you can take it on the go, and it comes with all the supplements, like all the documents that you really want to look at, like the charts and graphs and stuff like that. But Exit Rich, just to tell you a little bit about Exit Rich, it was endorsed by Steve Forbes. And as Steve Forbes says, Exit Rich is a gold mine because most business owners leave way too much money on the table when they go to sell their business. And then Sharon Lechter is my co-author who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. And then I've got Les Brown, and I've got Kevin Harrington, the original Shark on Shark Tank, who wrote The Forward, and many, many, many other testimonials. So just to clarify, Exit Rich is not about selling your company, believe it or not, because most companies are not sellable. Like Steve Forbes says, 80% of businesses on the market will never, ever sell. So that means you have less than a 20% chance of success. So Exit Rich is all about building a business that can run without you, because what most business owners do is they build themselves a glorified job, job, that they go to work at every day versus a business that actually works for them. And that's one of the number one reasons why 80% of businesses never sell. So Exit Rich is for all those entrepreneurs, anyone looking to start a business, buy a business, get into business ownership. If you own a business now, even upper management, Exit Rich is right for you, because again, it teaches you how to build that sustainable business that can run without you. And it really teaches you how to build a business that you can scale, and a business that you can sell one day. Because most business owners don't build a sellable business. They wake up one day and say, oh my gosh, I hate my company. I hate my employees. I hate everything. I want to sell my company. And they want to sell for $20 million. Well, they didn't build a $20 million company. They built maybe a $500,000 company. So Exit Rich is all about, kind of like what Stephen Covey says, start with the end in mind and find your exit from the beginning. And for $2.99, you can get all that wisdom in your ear.
There you go. You won't have to buy a Reese's peanut butter cup that day, or you could buy both.
$2.99 is less expensive than a cup of coffee. And a cup of coffee is not going to teach you how to make millions upon millions. And Exit Rich will.
See, there you go. That's right. Michelle's got you covered like a blanket, indeed, for the month of May. Y'all, for the audio, for those who like to be on the go and can't have time or make the time the whole book and read the whole book and underline.
And if you're listening to me now and saying, oh my gosh, I don't like her voice, that's okay. It's read by someone else. So go get it.
Boo. Boo. No. No. I prefer you to read it, but hey, that's just me. Who knows? But hey, it's all good. It's all good. So, my goodness. And the beautiful thing about this is, with this wonderful book, you've been like making waves with it. And it's not even your first book. I believe you actually had another version of the book, or at least talking about a similar topic back in 2013. It actually became a bestseller.
Yeah, in 2013, I wrote Sell Your Business for What It's Worth. It did become an Amazon bestseller, and it was featured in Inc. numerous times. And then I was a contributing author for Think and Grow Rich Today in the Napoleon Hill Foundation. I have written another book that hasn't been published yet, and that's all about acquisitions and how to acquire businesses with no money down. And then my latest book, which was Exit Rich, which was released in 2021. It is a Wall Street Journal's bestseller in USA Today.
Ah, sweet. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So with all these wonderful books and the experience, like, what do you think has helped you to really get better with everything in terms of being a writer? Because I believe poetry was one of your interests growing up, or still is one of your interests, right?
Yeah, so I've always been a writer, even, gosh, as far back as I can remember, 7 years old, 8 years old. I think I always wanted to be a reporter because I would always walk up to strangers at the bank, the grocery store, the church. And I wasn't your typical 7-year-old. I didn't play with any toys. I didn't like toys. I would walk around with a notebook and a pen, and I would walk up to strangers and ask them, what do you do? How did you get into it? You know? And so I always liked writing. I always liked interviewing people. I always liked talking to strangers. And so I've always kind of written short stories. I've always written just kind of short books. I write lyrics. I don't write music. I write lyrics. And I write poetry. I knew a long time ago that I would be a writer in some capacity, but I want to be a starving writer.
That's right. She wanted to exit rich, y'all. So do you ever think you might ever go down that creative path down the road and write a book just for the purpose of fun and not just help out the thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs out there?
Ever write a book on what?
A book just for fun on the creative poetry side of the game, something just for creative expression?
You know, I don't know if I'll do something like that. I am playing around and been thinking for a very long time about writing a children's series and writing children's books about entrepreneurship. So I'm thinking about doing that. I'm going to continue writing lyrics to songs and stuff like that. I have some musician friends in New Orleans that I might partner with and get them to write the music for it. Writing is a good outlet for me, but it's very different to sit down and write poetry or lyrics versus writing a 350-page book.
Oh yeah, especially with all the process that goes into making it finished for the public. Editing and everything else.
Right. Yeah, I always say the writing piece is easy. Right. To me, the writing piece is easy. I can sit down and write a book in 6 weeks. And in fact, I do write a book in 6 weeks. The 4 books I've written, they've all been in 6 weeks. And I do it during the holidays, which everybody looks at me like, are you crazy? You do this during the holidays. But I always start the week of Thanksgiving and I write through the new year. And typically now 1 or 2 weeks past January, depending upon where I am. But the reason I do that is because business owners, my clients are typically preoccupied with the holidays and they're not really focused on business. So it's a good time for me to kind of escape. And I own multiple different businesses, but I tell all of my partners, my employees, everybody, my team members, not to bother me unless something's on fire or somebody died. And I typically write about 12 to 18 hours a day, usually 5 to 6 days, usually 6 days a week. And I do that for 6 weeks. And that's how I knock out a book. I'm never going to be one of those people because I have friends of mine like, yeah, I'm writing a book. And I go, how long have you been writing this book for? And they're like, oh, 3 years. I can't do anything for 3 years or 2 years. I got to do it, get it out, move on to something else.
Well, hashtag elite performance on that one. So 6 weeks, my goodness. So that actually led to the whole 6Ps thought. So you have these wonderful 6Ps for entrepreneurs to keep in mind. So did you dedicate a P a week for the wonderful book out of curiosity?
No, I didn't really dedicate a P a week. I just kind of went back into my experience of selling, buying, fixing, growing companies over the last 20 plus years and really thinking about what makes a business sellable. And these are things I've been working on for over 20 years. I just decided to put it on paper. It's not even on paper. My very first book, Sell Your Business for More It's Worth. So it's not anything new for me because, like, again, I've been working with my clients in this for 20 plus years. And I just put it on paper because so many businesses fail because they don't have a good, solid infrastructure in place. It's kind of like when you go to build a house and you hire a contractor. If they just build a house on top of the ground, what happens? The first one that comes by is going to blow your house down. So you really have to dig deep. You have to pour the concrete, put in all the piping, put in the electrical, etc., and build the solid foundation. Well, the business is the same way. And a lot of entrepreneurs will just get in a business and start doing marketing and sales, and they don't really put in what I call the infrastructure, the solid infrastructure in which to grow a business that can operate without you. They don't put in that infrastructure that will allow your business to operate without you and allow your business to scale and duplicate itself. So that infrastructure is the 6Ps. I could have said 7. I could have said 8Ps. I mean, there's a lot of different Ps that go into it. But the very first P is people. And like I said earlier, 80% of businesses will never sell. And the number one reason for that is because business owners think that they're going to create financial freedom. They go into business thinking they're going to have a better quality of life. They go into business thinking they're going to have more time to spend with their family, take vacations, etc. But guess what? That's typically not how it is. Most entrepreneurs get into business and they're so busy working in their business, they never work on it. And most entrepreneurs I know that I've helped along the last 20 years, I personally have sold over 500 companies. But these entrepreneurs are like, I haven't taken a vacation in 9 years. I missed all my kids' soccer games. I missed all my daughter's plays. Well, that completely defeats the reason you got in business in the first place. You might as well just go ahead and keep that 40-hour-a-week job instead of the 80-hour-a-week business that you created for financial freedom and a better quality of life. So what the 6Ps is meant to do is to really help you to focus and work on your company, not in it. And the first P is people, because you don't do anything without people. You don't do anything without a team. And if you look at some of the best real estate agents in the world, they all have a team. They don't do it alone. And I always say, you don't build a business, you build people. You build the people, and the people build the business with you and for you. So entrepreneurs have to get outside of their own head and they have to change their belief system. Because so many entrepreneurs think, if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. Well, guess what? Entrepreneurs are not smart in every different aspect of business. You got to hire people that are smarter than you. And don't be afraid to hire people that are smarter than you. There's so many entrepreneur friends of mine are like, oh, I can't hire them. They know more than I do. Great. I want to hire people that know more than I do. It's not always easy to find, but I want to hire people that know more than I do. You always want to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you in areas that are not your core competencies. And you got to put the right person in the right seat. First, you got to identify the seats in your business. You got to identify what I call the who's. Who opens the door? Who greets the clients? Who handles marketing? Who handles accounting? Who handles manufacturing, legal, quality control? Who? The goal here, Dom, is that you should never be next to the who. You shouldn't be the one selling your products and services. You shouldn't be the one handling your accounting. You shouldn't be the one. You should be the visionary. Entrepreneurs are visionaries. They're visionaries. We need to stick to what we do best. Be the visionary and hire integrators. Integrators that can come in and integrate your vision, because you can't be both. Most entrepreneurs will never really see anything fully to its fruition or to its maximum capability, because they have this big vision and then nothing gets integrated. So then they come up with another vision. We're like squirrel. You know? And so you really got to look at your business and look at those seats and ask the who question and plug the right people in the right seats and work on your business and get out of it. And here's the bottom line. Control is a myth. You can't control everything and be successful. If you want to grow, you have to let go of the control. Now, I'll give you an example. I have a dentist that's been in business for 40 years. Came to me and wants to sell his practice. It's one dentist, and he has 3 dental hygienists. The dental hygienists are his daughters. So I said to him, I said, look, the business is 1,000% dependent upon you and your daughters. If you and your daughters leave, the patients leave. Finding a good dentist is like finding a good hairdresser. You're going to stick around because you like them and you're comfortable with them. So I said, I can sell your business, but I can't maximize value because you and your daughters are the business. He said, and I said, you're going to have to stay around for 2 to 3 years. He said, well, honey, we're not staying. I said, well, honey, you're not selling. So if you really want to sell a business and not become part of the 80% statistics that Steve Forbes says businesses never sell, then you have to build that business to run without you. And the only way you do that is by building people, and people build a business. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
The second P is products. You can't be in business if you don't have something.
Yeah.
You got your product, your service. You got to look at your product, look at your service, and ask yourself, is it on the way up? Do you have an Amazon and you're in your prime? Or do you have a Blockbuster and you're about to go out of business? And when I wrote Start Your Business for More Than It's Worth in 2013, I did the research and learned that 98% of startups were at great risk. 98% of startups will go out of business within the first 1 to 5 years. Now, everybody kind of knows that. Everybody knows that startups are at great risk. But here's what nobody knows. When I did the same research for Exit Rich, I learned that the business landscape has actually flip-flopped. It's changed dramatically. And so now it's not startups that are at great risk. Startups only have a 30% chance of going out of business. They have a 70% chance of success. But this is what's scary in America right now. There are 30.2 million businesses in the United States employing over half the U.S. workforce. If we lose small business, we lose jobs. We lose jobs, we lose spending power, and then more small businesses close. It's a domino effect. So now, out of 27.6 million businesses, those businesses that have been in business 10 years or later, 70% of them will go out of business. 70. So it used to be startups at great risk. No. Now it's existing businesses, which are the backbone of our economy. These businesses are at great risk for going out of business because of one thing and one thing only. And I call it lack of aim, AIM. Aim is always innovate and market. The media will talk about large companies going out of business, public companies like Toys R Us in business 75 years, goes out of business. Toys R Us did nothing to innovate. They did the same thing for 75 years. Businesses have life cycles just like humans do. Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix and sat back and did nothing and are now out of business. Godiva Chocolate, one of our favorite chocolate stores, is closing down 1,200 locations. Sears. I mean, the list goes on and on. But what the media doesn't talk about are the private business owners supporting the American economy. These business owners are exiting poor. They're selling for pennies on the dollar, closing their business, or even worse, filing bankruptcy. So it's really my mission not to just help business owners exit rich, but it's my mission to help save these business owners from going out of business. So you need to look at your product, your service, your industry, and ask, is it on the way up or is it on the way out? Ask yourself, what business are you at? You should write this down right now. And I know you might think, oh, that sounds like a crazy question. What business am I at? No, it doesn't sound like a crazy question, because go look at the leaders. Amazon back in the 80s asked themselves, what business are we in? And they said, we're in a fulfillment business. We fulfill book orders. Then the next most important question is, what is your superpower? What is your USP, unique selling proposition? What makes you better than everybody else in business? And Amazon said, we're better at fulfillment than anyone else. So the next obvious question is, what business should you be in? Should. And that's the powerful word right there, should, because we all get stuck. Business owners get stuck and they want to continue to do business the way they've always done it. They're like, oh, I've been successful for 10 years and not changing anything. You might not change, but the consumer changes. The consumer's buying habits change dramatically. So Amazon said the business we should be in is fulfillment for everybody's products all around the world. Those are three powerful questions. It really takes some soul searching, and sometimes it takes an outsider's perspective to help you figure it out. But Amazon, by asking those three questions, went from a small book fulfillment center to the multi-billion-dollar worldwide conglomerate that they are today. And let me tell you another company that asked the same question. So have you ever watched the movie The Founder, based upon McDonald's, the McDonald's franchise?
Great movie.
Great movie. The McDonald's was started by the McDonald brothers. Most people don't know that. It was started by the McDonald brothers. Ray Kroc came in and really saved them from themselves and blew up the company. But Ray Kroc almost lost everything, and nobody would have ever known about McDonald's if it wasn't for this one perfect stranger. So do you remember in the movie where Ray Kroc was completely over leveraged because he took out a mortgage against his house? The franchisees weren't paying him. The split with McDonald's was extremely low. And so he was in the bank trying to borrow more money. And the banker was like, I can't give you any more money, over leverage. How are you going to pay? How are you going to pay back the loan? And so Ray walks out of that bank with his head down, extremely upset, pretty much lost all hope at that point. But there was a gentleman there that was in a cubicle and just happened to overhear this conversation between Ray Kroc and the banker. And he walks out and he says, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I heard your conversation. He said, I think I can help you. So, but before that, I need to ask you a few questions. Do you remember this? And he said, what business are you in? And Ray Kroc says, I'm in the restaurant business. He said, no. What business are you in? I was like, I'm in a restaurant business. He kept asking him the same question. And Ray was getting frustrated. He's like, I'm in the restaurant business. He goes, no, that's not the business you're in. And Ray goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. He goes, the business you need to be in, the business you should be in, the business you're going to be in is the real estate business. You're going to buy up all the property, build the McDonald's franchise. You're going to start McDonald's corporate realty. And when the franchisees are not compliant, if they don't pay, then you void their franchise contract and you put another franchisee in there and they're going to pay you rent. If that gentleman did not follow Ray Kroc out of the bank that day and ask him those two questions, there would be no worldwide McDonald's. Because of that gentleman and his perspective, that is the reason why McDonald's is the largest real estate holding company in America, in the world, not America, in the world. So look at your business and ask yourself, what business are you in? What business should you be in? What's your superpower? Make sense?
Perfect sense indeed.
Well, the other P is processes. And I would tell you the number one reason business owners die, businesses die, other than innovation and marketing, is lack of processes. Yes, you need people, but you also need systems. You need the processes. Most businesses do not have their processes buttoned up. And most business owners get this wrong. Most business owners, they create their processes around the owner's agenda. I'll give you an example. Doctor's offices. What are their process for hours? Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or 9 to 4, or Friday, half a day. When do we all work?
9 to 5.
Yours work a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
But my husband and I own medical clinics, and one of the first things we said is we're going to think about the processes around our customer experience, not around our own agenda. So we said, let's have evening hours open till 7:30. Wow, what a concept. and Saturdays, so too. And we close early on Fridays to give the staff a break because most people are not going to go to the doctor Friday afternoon, but they will go Saturday morning and they will go up until 7:30 at night. So get a sheet of paper again and write down these 3 questions. What do you want your clients to experience? If you don't create wow experiences for your clients, your competition will do it for you and you will lose market share. The reason why 70% of businesses are going out of business is because business owners are complacent and they want to keep doing things the way they've always done them. You're either growing or dying. There's no in between. Consumer buying habits have changed dramatically. You can thank Amazon for that. And you can thank this pandemic for that. It used to be that we would order products from Amazon, but now we don't even go to the grocery store anymore. Now we go to Instacart or we go to Whole Foods from Amazon or Walmart, Target. All these stores now are innovating so that they can keep their share, their market share. So you have to look at consumers and what are their buying habits and ask yourself, what do we want our 3 clients to experience? I'm going to go back to the McDonald's story again, because back in 1940, I think it was the 40s, the McDonald brothers asked themselves, they said, look, we want to build a fast food restaurant because there weren't any back in that day. And they said, we want our customers to experience 3 things. We want our clients, our customers to experience great tasting food. I mean, McDonald's French fries are really the best French fries ever. But they want their clients, their customers to experience great tasting food, number 1. Number 2, they want their food to be hot and fast. Great tasting, hot, fast, 30 seconds or less. That's what they want their customers to experience. So because they were able to nail that down, they designed all their processes around the customer experience. It is the reason, even though it was developed back in 1940, the processes are the reason that you can eat at McDonald's anywhere in the world and pretty much get the same experience. It's also the reason why they can fire somebody on the drive-through window and put somebody else in there and have them train within 30 minutes because of the SLP checklist. So ask yourself, what do you want your clients to experience? Most business owners never do that. Most business owners are like, how can we run more efficient? How can we service our needs, our needs, our needs, our needs? Look at social media companies. Do they have a phone number if you have a problem?
If they
Even
do,
with
it's hidden
Amazon,
well.
I ordered food 3 times this week and my order got canceled. I have no idea why. There's somebody I can call. So you got to go back and ask yourself that question, 3 questions. And better yet, do a market survey and ask your clients, what are the 3 things you want to experience when you do business with my company? Then develop your processes, procedures, SOP, standard operating procedure checklist around your customer experience, not your own agenda. And then make sure you have employment contracts, employee handbooks, employee non-competes for upper management. So that's processes. So far we've covered for people, product, and processes. Any questions?
Nope, nothing I can think of at the moment.
Because we're halfway there. The next P is proprietary. So proprietary is the highest value driver. So I'll give you a quick crash course in valuations. If your business has less than $1 million in EBITDA, EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Really, all that means is what is the bottom line before the tax accountant depreciates your assets, before you pay interest on any loans, before your amortization, what is that bottom line? So businesses that have less than $1 million in EBITDA typically will trade anywhere from 1.5 to 3 times EBITDA. If you're a SaaS company, software, technology, then your business is valuated a multiple of gross revenues. That's the only industry. So don't come back to me and tell me that I spoke on Dom's show and said you could get a multiple of gross revenues because it's not happening. Only if you're in the technology business. So if your EBITDA is over $1 million, then your multiples are going to start at typically 4, 4.5, 5, and up, depending upon your proprietary assets. So what are proprietary assets? Proprietary assets are those synergies in your business that other buyers will pay for. Number 1 is branding. The more well branded your company is, the more I can sell it for, as long as your brand is relevant in the mind of the consumer. Is anybody paying any money for Blockbuster?
Nope.
The largest brand in the world, the most valuable, let's put it that way, the most valuable brand in the world is, do you know?
Apple?
It is Apple. You got it right. Most people don't get it right. Most people say McDonald's or Coca-Cola. I know they're in the top 10, but Apple is the most valuable brand. Apple's worth $389 billion. That's a B, billion. And that doesn't include the assets, the inventory, the real estate. It doesn't include the cash flow. That's just the brand alone. So build your brand. Trademarks are huge, but most business owners make big mistakes when it comes to proprietary assets or IP, intellectual property. A lot of business owners get really excited, like, okay, I thought of this great name. And then they go to GoDaddy and they're like, yes, I got the .com. And they're so excited. And then they go to the state that they live in, whether it's California, Texas, wherever. And they license the business in their state, but they never ever check the federal database to make sure that that name's available. You must check that federal database or hire an attorney. It's not that expensive to make sure that you're not going to spend all this money towards branding and then all of a sudden receive a cease and desist letter in the mail that says you can't use that company name anymore. So you want to make sure that you get a federal trademark. And not just your company name, but your company logo, your company slogan, your podcast. And just because it's your name, my name is Seiler Tucker, so I have Seiler Tucker. My attorney goes, it doesn't matter if that's your name. I go, what do you mean it doesn't matter if that's my name? It doesn't matter because somebody else could be using Tucker or some combination like that. So you still need to get that federal trademark. Same thing with patents. If you've ever watched Shark Tank, you should know that all sharks ask the same questions. They sound like a broken record. They always ask, you have a patent on that? Do you have a patent pending? Do you have a utility patent? We once sold a company for $18 million. It wasn't making any money, but they had 18 patents. So what we're talking about right now are synergies. This is your intellectual property. Now, your patents, your trademarks, your IP, never ever hold it in your corporation. You need to get a separate corporation for that intellectual property. Because if you get sued and you lose, you don't want to lose your IP. Contracts are also really important. Manufacturing contracts, vendor, franchisors, any type of exclusive type contract. Client contracts are extremely valuable to buyers because buyers want to make sure when they buy a business, they're buying a going concern that has money flowing in. So any type of client contracts, especially if you have a reoccurring model with residual income coming in. But the biggest mistake the business owners make around contracts is they're not transferable. Nobody ever has a transferable clause. It is a 2-sentence clause that says business is transferable upon a new entity. It is transferable upon a new entity. 98% of all sales in America are asset sales, not stock sales. So if your contracts are not transferable and your buyer refuses to do a stock sale, then you have to literally go to your clients and get them to sign what's called a consent to transfer. We have a client right now that's got 8,000 clients. It's a media company. Are they going to go to all 8,000 and say, by the way, please sign this, please sign this, please sign this? So you want to be proactive and make sure you have that transferability clause. This is worth a lot of money. You haven't even bought the $299 audiobook yet, but that's worth a lot of money. It can save you a tremendous amount of money and a lot of headache down the road. The other thing are databases. We have an app company, technology company we're selling right now. They got a huge, huge database of all their users. Well, guess what? Buyers will pay a lot of money for that. Facebook paid $19 billion for WhatsApp. And WhatsApp was hemorrhaging money. They were making no profit whatsoever. But they weren't just making no profit. They were losing money. They were hemorrhaging. But they had 1 billion users. So Facebook knew that they could ROI, get a return on their investment, and monetize on the sale of that business because of the 1 billion users. So that's what we're talking about synergies. Content is king. We talked about content earlier, writing books, blogs, all of this video content. But when you get content done, a lot of business owners make this mistake because they'll hire a 1099. They'll go to E5, they'll go to Fiverr or Elance or Odesk, or they'll hire interns, or they'll get 1099 writers. And the problem is there's a lot of lawsuits right now because the business owner didn't have the intern, independent contractor, Elance, or somebody sign an agreement that states that the business owner owns that content. So now that contractor is trying to claim, no, I own the content, I want royalties. So you want to make sure you get that agreement in writing. The other big thing is like celebrity endorsements. We have a client that's working with Oprah, and this business is going to sell for a lot of money to a strategic. And the reason for that is because they don't care about what this company's making. All they care about is Oprah. All they care about is getting their products in front of the queen of everything. Same thing with radio personalities. I call this digital landscape. If you have, let's say you sell dining room tables and you're on the Kate Craddock show or some popular radio show, they can only endorse one vertical at a time. They can't go in there and sell 10 different dining room vendors because they'll lose credibility, right? They'll lose credibility. Same, let's say you have a skincare line, they'll lose credibility. Also, internet placement. Let's say you sell dining room tables and you're number one on Wayfair. That's huge because nobody else can bump you off of that radio personalities time slots. And it's very hard to bump you off that number one position in Wayfair. So strategics will pay a lot more money for that position. It's called digital real estate. So these are your proprietary assets, your synergy that will take you from a 5 to an 8 to a 10. Build these proprietary assets because a lot of times it's not about the money anymore. It's not even about the cash flow. It's about the asset that will help catapult their current business, like Facebook, one of the billion users, because that's going to blow up Facebook, right? Patrons is the fifth P, and this is your customer base. And this is where most businesses get it wrong. Most business owners have customer concentration. We're selling a business for $55 million right now, and 70% of their revenue is tied up with one client. 70%, one client. If they lose that one client, they lose 70% of revenue, they lose their EBITDA. So we've had over 300 buyers look at this business. We had to find the right buyer that was okay with customer concentration. But most businesses follow the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your clients. And you have to change that landscape. Also, if you've been in business for 10, 15, 20 years, your clients are aging out. So you have to innovate and market to appeal to the next generations, whether that's the millennials, whether that's, you're just going to have to continue to innovate or close your doors, your choice. And then the last P is profits. We're all in business to make money, but really, honestly, very few businesses do. And lack of profits is never the problem. If you have lack of profits and you're listening to me right now, I'm going to tell you it's not your problem. It's a symptom of not having operating on the other 5 Ps. If you're doing everything yourself and you don't have the right people in the right seats, you're going to lose money because you're going to lose market share. You're going to lose clients, right? If you're in a dying industry, or let's say you're a restaurant, one of the biggest issues with restaurants during this pandemic is restaurants get paid one way. They get paid when you come and eat or you take food to go. Where's the e-commerce business? Where's the private label salad dressing or sauces or something like that you're selling online, or different establishments like grocery stores and things of that nature? Every business must have congruent revenue streams. Never, ever have one way to get paid. Because if you lose that one way, you're dead. And it must be congruent. If you own a restaurant, you don't want to go buy a landscape company.
Right.
And it's kind of like the reason why, if you see, nowadays, you're going to see the one-stop shop. We're going to see electrical, plumbing, AC, heating, kind of all under one roof. Because they're congruent revenue streams. When one dies, the other one is there. So lack of profits is never your problem. It's a symptom. If you don't have the right processes in place or are efficient, you're going to lose money. Did you know that 2 out of 5 businesses are embezzled? Business owners are embezzled every single year. Wow. And it's because business owners, once they do let go of their control, then they trust, but they never verify. So you always have to trust or verify. You always have to inspect what you expect. If you don't protect your IP, you're not going to be profitable. So you really have to go back and look at, are you running all 5 Ps? Same thing with customers, same thing with patrons. Do you have customer diversification or customer concentration? If you have customer concentration, you lose a couple of clients, you're in big trouble. If you're running all 5 Ps, I can promise you, you're going to be profitable. If you're running all 5 Ps, you're not profitable, you call me. So those are your 6 Ps. That's your infrastructure. That's how you build a scalable, sustainable, and sellable asset.
Boom. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That personal trainer for your business, baby. Michelle, she'll get your business them 6-pack abs, baby. Them 6 Ps. That's right indeed. That's right indeed.
6-pack abs. I never heard it. Nobody said that before.
I mean, it's a corny joke right there waiting. It's like
it's funny.
Yes, indeed. Because it's so darn true. Because like hearing so many of your past interviews and just hearing you go through the 6Ps again, especially the part about the proprietary, especially with the IP. A lot of folks don't even consider, and something folks do need to consider going forward with this digital real estate that we're in, especially with the metaverse that's growing. And apparently, I'm pretty sure you've heard about it. The guy who bought like land next to Snoop Dogg's land in the metaverse for $500,000. It's like just really trying to find ways to make sure you keep yourself protected, so that way you'll actually be in business for a long time and be able to sell it if you so desire at a beautiful rate, as opposed to exiting poor.
Well, not only that, but let's say you don't want to sell your business, because I have clients, people that tell me, Michelle, I'll never sell my business. So here's the bottom line: never say never. Number one. Number two, you don't know what's in store for you. So you need to set your family up for success. I had a lady that called me from Dallas, and her husband dropped out of a heart attack at the age of 45. And then she said, he left me with a mountain of debt. Can he sell his business? He had a construction company with all subcontractors. He had no employees. He had no really processes. All the data, all of his core competencies, all his secret sauces were in his head. So he didn't have a business. He had a glorified job, so he had nothing to sell. So I always tell everyone, even if you have no desire to sell, at least build a business that is sellable. So if a catastrophic event does occur, you set your family up for success and you have a sellable asset versus leaving them with a mountain of debt.
Amen to that. Amen to that, because that's definitely not the legacy you want to leave for your family. That's definitely not the legacy.
No, and I'm sure he's rolling around his grave right now saying, wishing that he protected his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens every day.
Yeah. So that's right, folks. So for those who are looking to get into business, already in business, probably need to play this episode 3 times over. Buy 3 copies of the book, buy 3 copies of the audiobook, share with your friends, family, cat, dog, penguin, and camel indeed, because the camel humps are in business. They need all 6 Ps to put in that hump. So my goodness, so since you have a podcast of your own now and you've been interviewing some superstars, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you continue to guest on these podcasts?
That's a good question. Not really. I mean, a lot of times people ask me, what's the big takeaway? And I'm trying to think of what question that people are not asking. I wish I was asked. You just stopped me right there. Just stop me with that question. Because I've been on almost 400 podcasts and TV shows, and I speak in front of audiences, live, not dead. So I think I pretty much have been asked everything. But the one big thing I do want to get across is, well, maybe this is a good question. If you're thinking about starting a business or getting evaluated, who should you go to? And that's a big question for your audience, because you never, and I love CPAs, so don't get mad at me if you're a CPA and you're hearing this. Don't go to a CPA to get your business evaluated. That's not their core competency. In most cases, that's not what they do. And they don't have a pool of 50,000 buyers like we do. They don't know the synergies that buyers are going to pay more money for. They're going to appraise your business based upon the financials, not just based upon that IP, that intellectual property. When we evaluate a business, we're looking at that business from the buyer's eyes. And I'll give you an idea. We had a manufacturing company that had a $5 million distribution center. Well, when we're doing that evaluation, we're like, ding, 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 light bulbs are going off, and who's in our buyer database? We have a manufacturing company that has distribution all over the United States. The first thing they're going to do is cut that $5 million distribution company, increase revenues, increase EBITDA from the day of closing. We know what companies are going to outbid to get their products in front of OPA. So when we're doing these valuations, we're looking at these synergies going, this is going to create value, this is going to create value, this is going to create value. CPAs don't really do that, because that's not, it'd be like me saying, come to me, I'll do your taxes and I'll do tax planning and all that stuff. That's not what we do. Here's another question, now that I've thought about it, that people don't ask me. Michelle, when we go to sell our business, how do we walk away with more money and pay our favorite uncle less money? Or not so favorite uncle. And the best way to do that is what I call a DST, which is Deferred Sales Trust. The Deferred Sales Trust is an amazing instrument that's been around. It says Deferred Sales Trust are everywhere, but 20 years of experience, I finally found the right partners that have been doing this for almost 30 years. And It's bulletproof, which I like bulletproof, especially in New Orleans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a way that you can sell your business or sell your real estate without paying capital gains, deferring that capital gains, and really setting your family and yourself up for success. So that's something nobody asked me. And then the other thing I was going to say is when you're ready to get your business evaluated, go to the M&A expert, hire an M&A expert. Depending upon your business, if you have a coffee shop, hire a good business broker to sell that coffee shop. If you've got a $10 million company, don't hire a business broker to sell your $10 million company because their specialty is selling small businesses. Get an M&A advisor. If you're just starting out, then I always say my favorite quote, and the reason it's my favorite quote is because it's my quote, but I always say it's hard to read the label from the inside of a bottle. You need an outsider's perspective to read the warning signs and keep you out of the danger zone. Learn from somebody else's mistakes, not from your own. Go and hire a mentor, but not just any mentor, because there's a lot of wolves in sheep clothing saying that they've done this and they've done that, and they really haven't done anything. You want to make sure that you get a mentor that's been right down the road you want to travel, and make sure you do your due diligence, but learn from their mistakes because they'll shorten your path dramatically and put you on the way to success so much quicker. Always learn from someone else's mistakes.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. This episode's been hotter than fish grease. Indeed, y'all. I'm telling you. That's right, indeed, because he's been dropping
fish grease
that.
hot? I don't even know. I always say fish stinks from the head. So if you have a problem in your business, you need to look at yourself because fish stinks from the head.
It really does. Oh, man. Well, 2 more questions and I'll let you make a run for it. And this one's, I'm pretty sure you haven't even heard this one yet. So if your wonderful book, Exit Rich, was a food, what would it be and why?
That was a food. What would it be and why? You like win the award for asking the best questions, huh?
Sweet.
Well, I tell you what food it wouldn't be. It's not a box of chocolates because with Exit Rich, you do know what you're going to get. You're going to get a roadmap to success for better sustainable, scalable business. Next question.
That was probably the best answer to that question. Oh, yep, she flipped it.
That's
That's a
it.
good one.
Not a box of chocolate.
That's right. You definitely know what you're going to get with this.
That's my Forrest Gump movie. One Forrest Run.
That's right. In this case, run to your rich exit, right?
Right. You're right. Run the MST.
Yes, indeed. So the last question is the question every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're in 2022 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would start a manufacturing company, manufacture mask, hand sanitizer for this pandemic, so we're more prepared. No, the advice I would give to myself is pretty much the advice I already gave, which is get a mentor, because I never had a mentor in life. I didn't really get a mentor until 2011, 2012. And that's when I wrote my very first book, So Your Business Can Run Its Worth, because I really was the best kept secret, meaning that, no, I wasn't a mistress or anything. I was the best kept secret because, yeah, you didn't pick up on that, Dom. That was funny. I was the best kept secret because I sell companies. I sell private companies. And private means private. Yeah. We're not allowed to discuss any of the details. We're not allowed to, from the shout it from the rooftop, what businesses we sold. So I was helping business owners exit rich for many, many, many years, but I can never talk about it. So a lot of business owners, because I speak in front of large audiences, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people, and I always ask that question, how many of you know what an M&A advisor is and what do we do? And maybe 10 hands would go up. So back in 2011, 2012, my mentor said, you need to write a book. You need to let people know who you are, what you do, and you need to educate business owners that there's a better way to go about evaluating your business and selling your company. Don't hire a real estate agent to sell your business. Hire a real estate agent to sell your house. And so if that mentor didn't tell me all of that back in 2011, 2012, then where would I be today? I probably wouldn't have written 3 books. I probably wouldn't be on your podcast. And I would just be doing business behind closed doors like we always do in private companies. So get yourself a mentor that can help you get out of your shell or help you create your brand awareness, help you with lead generation, whatever it might be. Get a mentor early on. I wish I would have done it a long time ago, much earlier than 2012.
Boom. Rock solid advice indeed. That's right indeed. Michelle's giving you all the jewelry store gems, y'all, for your business this episode, baby. That's what I'm talking about indeed.
And I do have some jewelry stores for sale if you want to buy one.
Boom. That's right
Boom.
indeed. That's right indeed. She didn't sell over 1,000 businesses for nothing, y'all. I'm telling you. That's right indeed. That's why it's plus and it counts indeed, because she is on a roll indeed. And she's definitely going to be a big role model, if not a role model already, for women in business indeed. So definitely need to launch that children's book series for the girlpreneurs growing up. That's right indeed. Probably getting to school is probably something different for you. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So for those who need to keep up with what you're doing and be on the lookout for your future projects and all the marvelous stuff that the Mighty Michelle's doing, what's the best way for folks to do so?
All right. So I'm going to give you a few ways. Number one is you can go to my website, seilertucker.com, seilertucker.com. If you are like, gosh, the 6 Ps and you're not really sure where you stand, go to SeilerTuckerAcademy.com and take the 6P quiz. And then you can also listen to Exit Rich podcasts. And we are going to be writing a column in Inc. twice a month called The Business Authority. And then make sure you go and get your audio book, Exit Rich, or your audio version of Exit Rich you can buy it from your audio bookstore, Amazon, iTunes, wherever you like to buy your audiobooks for $2.99 for only the month of May. If you send me a receipt that you bought that audiobook for $2.99 in May, I'll give you a lifetime membership to the Exit Rich Book Club, where you will get documents, all the documents to operate your business, such as employee handbooks, non-competes, sample policy and procedure manuals, documents to sell your business, such as prospectuses, samples of prospectuses. We'll give you samples of LOIs, letter of intent, IOIs, interest of intent, purchase agreements, due diligence checklists, closing documents. All these documents will cost you over $50,000 if you try to recreate. You buy Exit Rich for $2.99 in the month of May and send me your receipts. I'll make sure you get that lifetime membership into the Exit Rich Book Club. It doesn't get any better than this. Does it get any better than that, Tom?
Nope. She's giving out gifts in May. Who needs Santa Claus in December? My goodness. That's right. She got gifts. You'll be doing tricks.
MST, Christmas in May. That's what it is.
That's right. That's right indeed. You can't spell May without
follow me
Michelle,
on social media too. Follow me on social media. Michelle Seiler Tucker, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn.
That's right indeed. She's got the Mother Tucker tips for you, y'all, in business. It's good stuff. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Because she is a mom too.
Yes, Mother Tucker.
Oh, man. Woo! Well, there you have it, folks. I'll put all that in the show notes. Click on all the links, buy the audiobook, shoot Michelle your receipts. That way you can get access and get all those wonderful bonus goodies. Indeed. It's definitely good for you indeed. That's right. She's a personal trainer for your business, baby. That's right. You'll get those 6-pack abs with those 6 Ps indeed. So any closing thoughts before we close up shop, Michelle?
Closing thoughts. Just you owe it to yourself and your business to really be focused and don't just think about the now, think about the future and start with the end in mind and go and get Exit Rich and listen to it on a daily basis, because I can promise you that if you follow the advice and Exit Rich, you will have a business, not a job, that you will have a business that works for you rather than you working for it.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in and setting aside some of your time to listen to this wonderful podcast, Going North. If you really enjoyed what you heard, do me a solid and share this with your network and someone that you care about that would get something out of it too. And be sure to subscribe to hear more, and heck, even check out the backlog if you would like, because there are hundreds of episodes to choose from, and they just keep getting better and not butter.